We just want to have an open conversation with you about where our church is financially. So that's what we're here to talk about today. First, though, we want to thank you for your generous giving. God is using you to do amazing things in our church family and our community and all over the world. You are a huge blessing, and we appreciate you. We thank God for you. I've noticed as I've been looking at the financials that our giving over the previous 4 years has been very consistent. But as you can see from the graph up behind me there, we've had a few low months this fall, especially in October. The staff and elders, we monitor this regularly, and the staff has done a great job operating on a reduced budget even before we saw these low spots. Right now, with our best projections are that if we don't find a way to reduce expenses or increase giving between now and the end of the fiscal year, we'll end up short by about $196,000. Which is why we're taking these proactive steps now so that this doesn't happen. So here's what the staff and elders are doing and what we're going to be asking from you. Throughout the year, the staff has been working on an operational budget that's 10% lower than the budget than was approved. And they've been doing a fantastic job at keeping expenses low. All the while, they haven't even been given a cost of living expense raise for the past several years. The elders identified some funds that we've set aside for future expenses, the largest of which is for the church plant that we've decided to put back into the general fund. This isn't that we're giving up on the church plant. We still believe that God is calling us to do that, but given our finances now, that's the prudent thing to do. There are also going to be some savings while we search for our next student pastor. Our goal there is to have a new student pastor come in this summer. We'll have a half year there. And much like combining the jobs in student ministry, some of you got the email from me, we'll be looking at streamlining and right-sizing in other places in the organization through the rest of the year as roles have changed and ministries and life circumstances for different people have changed over time. So making those changes will get us halfway there. The other half is what we're asking of you. This is something that we need to do together. We need to give. One of our key values at Westwood is that we are generous and invested partners, and we gladly serve and sacrifice for the sake of God's mission here at our church. So God has entrusted each of us individually with resources, and we as God's people need to invest those resources so that He has entrusted to us to do the work that God has called us to do together as a church. Recognizing that asking every member to contribute the same amount, say $50 a month, to solve the problem might present a challenge for some people, so we'd like to ask you to give according to the resources that God has entrusted to you. With that in mind, we're asking 10 of you to give an extra $1,000 a month through the end of the fiscal year. Another 10 to give another $500 a month through the end of the year. 100 of us can probably give $100 extra a month, and then some people can give the $50 or even another $15. If we all participate together, we can be sure to end the year in the black. If you want more information on the finances, I'll be out at the information desk. We also have a summary sheet that we provide about every quarter that's out there that's available, or we can get some other finance information for you. Well, we haven't been in these exact circumstances before. We have been in similar circumstances, and that's why I've asked Les to come up and share how God has worked through our church in the past.
When I joined the elders a long time ago, I was one of the youngest elders. Now I'm one of the older ones, but with that comes 25 years of seeing how God has worked in this church. And I just wanted to share a couple things. When we first started, we were just ready to start building this church, and the church rallied together to raise quite a bit of money to get this church and the educational wing started. But we went to the conference for the last little bit of money for $1.3 million mortgage that we had. And I remember clearly one elder meeting that Pastor Lee said, you know, if we want to really be an example to the church, we shouldn't have any church debt. So we came back to the congregation and took that $1.3 million mortgage and paid it off within 3 years, and it was really an exciting time. And from then on, all the buildings that we did, the educational wing and the family center, we built without borrowing any money, just on presenting the need to the congregation and you as a congregation responding, and that was really exciting. We needed extra money when we hired, we needed a pastor. We did our pastor search for hiring Pastor Philip. There was some overlap and some expenses involved, and we wanted to give a good retirement gift to Pastor Lee, and you as a people responded. So I saw how in all those years we as a church responded to the things that we really believed in. We know how to work for a common mission as a goal at Westwood. And so we're asking your help today, just because elders believe in what this church stands for in the past and where we are going currently. And I've served on over 20 different boards here in this church, and this is a good board of very godly men that love what we're doing here, and we're standing together. You know, we will use all that God supplies, and only that. If He blesses abundantly, we have many more things we want to do for the kingdom in our community. If we run short, we're going to cut back significantly to make sure it matches. But we're confident that God will supply just enough to do exactly what He wants us to do in our South Sound area. I'm confident that God will show us what to do. I know all of our circumstances are different, and we're going to have to sacrifice a little bit. I just retired this last year, so my income is very different than what it was when I was working. But I want to be a part of the solution, and I'm going to figure out a way, and I'm asking God to help me, show me how I can be part of the solution to fix this short-term problem. It will be exciting to see what God will do with us.